Today I'll be ticking another thing off my bucket list as we're going snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef. From turtles and jellyfish to giant clams, this underwater paradise is unlike anything we've ever seen, and we can't wait to dive in and explore it. We'll be taking you along for the whole experience, what we see, who we go with, and whether the Great Barrier Reef really lives up to the hype. And now it's time to get on that boat. Good morning from the SeaStar boat. We're heading over to our first stop right now, but let me tell you a little bit about how much it cost and where we got the boat from. So it's cost us $265 per person to do the tour, and there are two different stops. So the first stop is by a beach, so you can actually stand up in the sand, and then the second stop will be on the reef. The SeaStar boat has two decks, so you can either go obviously downstairs in the inside or upstairs, which is kind of the outside, which I'll show you in just a second. And it's going to take us about an hour and 20 minutes to get to our first stop. And if you're seasick, they do actually sell seasick tablets, which is good. They also give you a buffet at lunch too, and we've just had some muffins this morning, and then Mum's also had a coffee. So if you want any hot drinks like coffee, waters and stuff like that, then you can get those. But we're currently sat on board, and here it is. So we've just had to change into our stinger suits as we are here during the summer season, so we don't want to get stung by any jellyfish, but now we look just like seals, so hopefully we don't attract any sharks. So our first stop is the very loud Michaelmas Cay, as this is actually a nature reserve for the birds. As you can see, there are hundreds and probably thousands of birds just flying around on here. But it's a beautiful little spot with a beach. You're not obviously allowed to cross that bit of road there in front of you, because that is where the nature reserve is. So we're now going to swim, head our way back. You've got to keep it on the left side of those buoys, because that is the boat's highway, and make our way towards the boat whilst getting to see some fish. So we've just finished our first stop, now heading to our second stop, but the first one was amazing. We got to see turtles, there were jellyfish, loads of fish obviously, and coral too. But before we actually went for a swim, they showed us on a glass boat. So they took us on a little tour, told us a bit more about the coral reef itself, and then told us a bit about the fish too, which we saw. You don't really get to see too many fish whilst you're on the glass boat because the engine obviously scares them off, but you learn a little bit more about the coral instead. And then with the swim, it was just incredible getting to swim with all the fish, the turtles and the coral. We then had lunch, which I did forget to record. However, hopefully I can get a little photo off their website so you can see what there is. But there was stuff like chicken, couscous, there's like a vegetable lasagna sort of thing. Beth had a vegan meal which she had to pre-order, so luckily they got us some of that, and she thought that was very nice too. And there was plenty of food, so they kept saying you can come up and get more and more. So they do one quick round with everyone, and then after that you can get more and more. And because we've come during the worst season to come, which is wet season, it's actually like half full, the boat too, so we've got loads of space, which is really nice. And another thing which you can do is also a dive, so they've got diving or snorkeling, so it's up to you which one you want to do. I do believe you have to pay a little bit extra for the diving, but that makes sense because obviously they've got all the oxygen tanks and all the instructors taking you under the water. But now we've arrived at Hastings Reef, which is our second and final stop, where it's a bit more of a reef. There's no island like the Cay, so hopefully we get to see more fish, turtles, and maybe even a shark. And now we are back. So the second dive was amazing. You got to see great fish again at this one. However, they were bigger and even better. Also, the coral here is just beautiful. So nothing like any of the other places I have been before. It's definitely the best spot in terms of the coral. And then we also got to see one more turtle. However, that spot wasn't quite as good for the turtles as the previous one. Once we then got out, we got given some snacks. So there was muffins and fruit which you could have, which was really nice. And they also did some talks throughout the day about the coral reef itself and the history and what they're doing to try and preserve them and stuff like that. So that was all really interesting too. And then it was a long boat ride back to the port, where we arrived at around sort of 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that last stop, you also had another 2 hours to swim around in there. So we got back, I believe, just before 4 p.m. and then that's when these helicopters were taken off. So literally just on the other side of the port, you can hear it in the background, it is the heli port. And as you can see, they are going to be taking people over to views from the sky. So instead of us getting the views from in the water, these will be flying. Look how cool they look. In terms of the company, I definitely recommend SeaStar. They were really good on the day, and we came during the worst season to come apparently, so that is wet season, and we didn't get any rain at all, and the boat was half empty, so that was perfect for us. Whereas when you come, if you do come in the prime season, then obviously it's going to be a lot busier on the boat, so you might not have quite as much space as we got. But if you have got this far, I'd really appreciate it if you smash that like button and subscribed if you are new, as it goes a long way to supporting the channel as I try to make these videos better and better each week. But we are now about to head out for our evening meal, and what's quite funny is I have actually burnt a bit of my forehead. I don't even know how I've managed to do it, because I thought the suit went all the way over, but obviously there's like a little section between the suit and the eye mask which I must have missed, and now that bit is burnt, so I look a little bit like a plonker, but hopefully no one already noticed. So let's go out, get a drink, and then we'll go for some food. So for food, we headed over to Piatto, which was a nice Mediterranean restaurant, but along that esplanade, it's mainly sort of fish restaurants and Italians, with one curry house, which we noticed as well, and then a couple of steak houses. So there's quite a good variety, but there's not great variety for vegans. And we found that in Piatto too, there wasn't many options for Beth. I think it was like one main and then one meze too, which she could have. So she had the meze, which was tasty, but obviously she'd rather have had a main. I got myself the ravioli, which tasted nice, and then my parents both got a Caesar salad each, and they were both nice, and it came to just under $200. So it is fairly expensive, especially compared to Adelaide, but it does feel like a more touristy area there, so that's probably why they've raised the prices. But I do hope you all enjoyed this vlog in the Great Barrier Reef. We had an amazing time, and I definitely recommend going there if you ever do get the opportunity to, and I'll see you all next week with another vlog.